It is Saturday, May 3rd, and I'm going to do an update to my status messages. It has been, I don't think I've done any since the end of March, and I definitely needed to replace one. I have had some conversations with the RCMP out of Olds, and one of these status messages that I had released on January 17th needed to be updated. It has, what would be the word I'm looking for? It has caused a great deal of questions, which is exactly what it was meant to do. So it definitely suited the purpose that it was meant to suit. And now I have, there's a great deal of things have happened, so I need to update all of this. Between today and tomorrow, I'm going to try and get 3 status videos online. There was too much to cover in one, and they wind up being too long, and, does a person have the time or the patience to listen to the whole thing when they're this big? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I started making notes for them, and I haven't even covered one of the 3 videos, and I'm already at 3 pages, and one of the videos I'm only... I probably am going to wind up with 2 pages of notes for each video. So, now... one of the things, so there's going to be 3 videos. The first one will be this one, which is the general outline of things and the overall look into the situation as a whole, to answer a bunch of questions that need to be answered. The second one and the third one will be in particular to interactions with the RCMP in regards to this, and one will be specifically around the school, which I know from what I've been seeing there's been a great deal of questions about. Now I'm going to start with one question that personally I thought was obvious, but apparently it wasn't the most obvious, or some people didn't clue in. I had posted a theoretical question in regards to the EOS elementary school in Olds, and whether parents would want to know if it was a theoretical question, if they would want to know if there was a child molester walking the hallways, and if they would, if this is something they would want to be aware of, that, the person they could be rubbing shoulders with is more than, has admitted to the fact that he has inappropriately touched and played with his own kids. Now, normally a question like this, when you ask a question like this, people realize that there is some basis for reality in this. This really wasn't a theoretical question. This was a real question, and I had just not been as blunt to say as, yes, there is a self-admitted child molester walking the hallways in that school. Now, an interesting fact that the RCMP pointed out, and I'll bring it up here because it kind of fits in here. They claim that is a statement that is good for any school, any swimming pool, any park, any location or public location anywhere in the world at any given point in time. I don't know if I'm quite that cynical. However, if you are prepared to think that way, then you take a new level of security for your kids into play. And I'm sure with everything that the RCMP have seen, that becomes a bit of a reality for them. It is scary to think that, at any point in time, these people can be around you. But, in my life, I had never experienced one. And to have it hit as close to home as it did, especially with this particular man, then, it was a bit of a shock. Now, the next thing I'm going to do quickly is I was approached by a local newspaper, and I'm not exactly when you speak to the media, they never actually report what you say or what you mean. They report or interpret everything and put it in print the way they wish it to be disclosed. It's very typical of the media. So with a couple of he's left 2 voice messages so far. With the first one, it's more than evident that he has the tone of his article already down pat, and really is probably not interested in any of the facts and anything. Now, I can't say that for sure. The voicemail is a little vague, but the tone of it was pretty implying. Now, he did leave a question on the voicemail, which I would like to answer here. And I'm going to address, I actually do invite the reporter, if he wants to leave questions or more questions on voicemail, that as I release status reports, I will be happy to try and address and answer on the status reports. That way the public can see what I've actually said and not have it manipulated by the power of the press. Now, the first question that he had done in a bit of a I would say I don't know if I want to say a sarcastic attitude. I have to watch the way of saying it, but it was not in the it was not in an inquisitive way. It was more in a confrontational way. That, you know what? That's the best way to word it. The question was left in the most confrontational fashion on the voicemail, and not in a query point of view. And that was, what do I expect or hope to accomplish by releasing all of this to the public, or by releasing this the way I am? I actually want to try to answer that as I go on in this video. So that will be addressed at some point, just so you know. So that is something I plan on doing. Now, what I want to move to from here is Child Protective Services. As you have known from a status video, I managed to finally get Child Protective Services to force them to perform an initial investigation. It took a great deal of effort and a lot of public demand. So they had no willingness and no, they simply were refusing to investigate in any way, shape, or form. So an investigation was forced upon them. Now, when you have this, where the agency or whatever has no interest in doing an investigation and does not want to do one, you're going to find that they do a half-assed one. And this is this is a prime example of that. The sheer level of utter incompetence that occurred during this investigation is astronomical. For one, Connor was never put in a safe position or been convinced that he was safe, so he would not disclose anything or ask any of them for help. I mean, let's get real here. A stranger walks up to him, takes him aside, and starts asking him questions. The very questions that got him ripped away from his home, pulled from the school that he loved, taken away from all of his friends, the same questions along those lines. Second, we know that he was threatened by the biological father not to speak to any adult outside the home about what goes on in the home. Now, this threat Connor takes extremely seriously. When he told me about the fact he was threatened, this was the scariest I'd ever seen my son in his entire life. His eyes were, bulged out and big, and, the look of terror on his face, and he was even shaking while he was, disclosing it. He was utterly terrified and fearful of his own life if he was to disclose anything that went on inside their home, outside their home. Third, so do you think he's just going to randomly trust some stranger who claims that he can be trusted, especially when he's in an environment that is controlled by the biological father? The answer to that is no. He did not trust them, he didn't feel safe, and he would not ask for help. Now, this was addressed with the Child Protective Services investigator, who chose to do absolutely nothing about it and not allow Connor to be put in a position where he could establish his own bearing for safety and then start to disclose what's going on. And at this point, they actually started to hide evidence and cover up for the mistakes that they were making. They even released statements that were out-and-out lies. It's quite surprising how much they wanted to cover up the incompetence that took place here. Now, the results of the official investigation are an interesting set of results. I know the school is trying to portray that Child Protective Services has concluded that there is nothing to be concerned about and there is no danger. This is the farthest from the truth. Child Protective Services, because Connor would not ask for help, prematurely ended their investigation, covering up sources of evidence that Connor had disclosed, and classified the investigation as unsubstantiated, which means they could not prove without Connor's testimony that something had been happening to him, just like they could not prove it hasn't happened to him. So when the file was officially closed, it was officially closed as unsubstantiated. CPS, or Child Protective Services, did not, I repeat, not clear the biological father, and they did not say he was safe to have around. There was absolutely no proof of any innocence. Additionally, the biological father is refusing to take part in psychological evaluations, which I will explain in a few minutes, which would more than discover what he has been doing to the kids. So another point I like to point out is that in no way, in no way, shape, or form did Child Protective Services say the school was safe, because they have not cleared, and in one way or another. So don't think for a minute that the investigation has concluded that nothing has happened and that all of the kids are safe. This is the farthest from the truth. Now, I'm going to get into some of the reasons that that follow up with this. There is something that the courts use called a child custody assessment. This is where it kind of gets interesting and starts to disclose to everyone what is, where the truth really is. Now, the reporter wanted to know what my primary goal was. Well, the first and foremost goal was to create enough of a public demand that a child custody assessment would be done. Okay? Now, since the beginning of this, when it all started, I have all but begged the courts for a full child custody assessment. However, the biological father profusely objects to this. Now, many of you probably have no idea what a child custody assessment is, so let me explain. A custody assessment is done by a professional team of doctors, psychiatrists, or psychologists. They interview every member of the family alone, and they interview everyone in every combination to find out the relationships between everyone. And they don't just do this once, they do this on more than one occasion, taking what they find in various interviews to talk to other people about it. So this way they can really ascertain the overall situation as a whole. Then they randomly do surprise, unannounced visits at any point in time and at any location. So they take your schedule. They could drop by at 10 o'clock at night. They could drop by at 7 in the morning. They could drop by at 5 in the afternoon. With all of these random appearances in any and all locations, they are able to establish exactly what is going on inside that home and report on it. Now, these are professional groups that are paid and have spent years looking into exactly what happens behind closed doors, so that they can provide the courts and everyone with an accurate view of what is going on. The biological father does not want anyone to know what is going on in his home behind closed doors. Now, the only reason you wish to hide this from the professionals is because you have something to hide. An innocent person would never hide. He would never threaten his kids with bodily harm to not speak to an adult about what goes on inside their home, outside their home. You just don't threaten your kids to do that. A good point to remember here is that the biological parents have not let Connor be assessed by any doctor or professional they cannot directly control. This way they can control the outcome of the opinions of the professional. They have not even disclosed all of the people that Connor has allegedly seen. They've hidden some of those from the court. Now, what I have been told behind closed doors, and I don't know if I completely believe it, is that he's only talked to one therapist, and the therapist has admitted to the fact that they're not qualified to completely deal with the situation that we're in or that Connor is in. So, this is a counselor level therapist. This is not a qualified doctor. Additionally, the firm that I have asked for the courts to be able to use is a top firm in Alberta. It's not a rinky-dink, behind closed doors or 3 or 4 random people or unexperienced. This child custody assessment and the professionals that are used is going to run somewhere between $25,000 to $40,000. Okay, and the professionals that involved are top-notch professionals. You don't do this if, what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing to find. The big one is that I'm here with open doors, attempting to get the professionals through the doors, but not just the professionals, the right professionals, the ones that are capable of dealing with the situation and can help. I have found that a lot of the government agencies, for example, Child Protective Services, they like to apply a boilerplate to every situation. So they do a boilerplate investigation. Now, this may work 75 to 80% of the time, but it doesn't work with people who understand how to beat the system. The biological father has extensive experience with social services and child protective services, so he knows exactly how to prep the kids, how to condition them, and prepare them for these surprise inspections. So, their boilerplate doesn't work, and that makes this agency incredibly ineffective, which is a sad thing, but it is the truth. And then you couple it with the fact that they didn't want to do the investigation and they were forced to do it, just shows the credibility to the results. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to do, and I'm going to end the video at this, is as a bit of a timeline. This viral, from what I can ascertain, or this video, from what I can ascertain, went kind of viral on April 24th. Now, this is a pivotal date. The RCMP are trying to claim that the school, that this video went viral and then the school approached them. I don't believe this for a minute. I think they're being played, or they are hiding the fact that the parents have filed the complaint. But again, I'll get into that when I discuss the RCMP. The reason for that is that there was a Court of Appeal appearance on April 23rd. So it's not just a coincidence that a video that had been out there for over 4 months, basically about 4 months and 2 weeks, that had, I do believe, less than 50 views, something in the 50 view range, maybe 60 or 70, but there was a minor amount. It was well under 100 views. That all of a sudden it leaps and bounds to 1,000 views. Now, we know that videos go viral in seconds on the internet. That is nothing new. But for them to go viral in less than 24 hours of a court appearance, no. They, especially when they have been dormant for 4 months, 2 weeks roughly. So, you have to consider the fact here. This is not at all a coincidence. I believe that this was actually motivated and encouraged by the biological parents. Now, you may think that the biological parents have no reason to do this, but they do. They may use it as a way to interfere with the appeal, especially if they can hide in the shadows and make it look like they had no part in it. They can bring all this attention and cause all this uproar and then slap it back at me, which, is what they're doing in this case. Now, there are other results to this. This can taint the judicial pool, because as it hits the media, definitely the judges may see it, and this could force the selection of judges to come from out of province to prevent the judges from having any out of courtroom exposure to it, which of course could delay the appeal. And they most certainly want to delay it for several reasons. So don't kid yourself on this latest run of a video that was posted, I believe, January 17th, and that it went viral one day after a Court of Appeals session. Something I should also mention, with that Court of Appeals session, there were several motions that were put to be heard by the Court of Appeal in a short period of time. And by the parents causing that video to go viral, and the potential of the outcry that they could then in turn try to backlash and blame on me, even though they have instigated it, they could affect the motions if the court manages to see them. Now, it is quite impressive that the court. I have to say this beyond a shadow of a doubt. The Court of Appeals judges in Alberta do not appear to be like the Court of Queen's Bench judges. They have definitely, and I want to say this carefully because I don't want to, by no means do I mean any disrespect to the Queen's Bench judges, but the Court of Appeals judges seem to, maybe it's because they get a little more time with people, and they don't have 25 cases in a 2-hour period rush past them. They seem to ascertain and surmise the situation and the environments much better and sum up what's really going on. So I'm sure that they're not going to see through this little charade that the biological parents are playing. Anyways, I'm going to upload this video and get this one going, and I'm going to start working on one of the next 2 ones. I might do the RCMP first, and then the school. We'll have to see. It all depends on which one I manage to type up first and what kind of time I get. So I want to let you know there are 2 more coming, and I thank you for watching, and I'm hoping this is clearing up some of the questions that people have. And as I said, I will be releasing more very, very shortly. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for helping with Connor. Thank you for the public demand. Thank you for the help for Connor. And as I've always said, you can find out more at the website httpd://helpsave.mysonconnor.com. Now, there is no www in front. Help Save has no spaces, so it's HELPSAVE.mysonconnor, and Connor is spelled CONNER.com. Okay, and you can find out a lot more of the situation over there. I look forward to speaking with anyone who wishes to speak with me, and have yourself a great weekend. Talk to you soon.